Well, joining me for more on the border is Customs and Border Protection Senior Advisor and former acting ICE Director Ron Vitiello. Ron, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
We were just talking about the situation at the border and how both of us had been there during Biden, during the first term. How different is it down there?
It's 100% different. There's about a 94% decrease in the number of people who are trying to cross the border illegally every day. So that's almost a 100% increase in the capability that the agents bring to the border, right? So there's more patrol hours, there's more technology. We're planning for that. Wall being laid down about 11 miles already just since January, and a lot more of that to come, buoy barriers. The border is in better shape than I've ever seen it in 40 years. And so the American public should be proud of what they voted for and now what they're getting in return as it relates to a secure border.
Have you ever seen an administration, even comparing it to the first Trump term, that's focused this much on the border?
No, it's been amazing. All of the interagency has lined up with DHS, the Secretary Noem having the leadership to bring everybody together, the White House bringing everybody together, making sure that the Department of War, the Department of State, HHS, everybody working together to secure the homeland in a way that I've never seen.
Mm-hmm. Now to some of what's going on in cities right now, the National Guard deployments. Judges again rejected the president's use of the National Guard. Do you think ultimately the courts will clear the way for this?
I do believe that, and I think these judges, these activist judges, are getting in the way of progress. Also, this leadership on the ground in places like Chicago and Illinois. If their cities were safe, if they didn't need, if the National Guard wasn't required to protect these facilities and protect ICE agents, there wouldn't be a need to take this to court. But what they're showing, that Governor Pritzker, he just doesn't want anybody deported from the United States. It doesn't really matter. We had 4 years of chaos in which the people of Chicago and Illinois suffered greatly over these large numbers of people, gang members coming into their cities and towns, and they're proving that they don't want this done. But hide and watch. The president at the White House, this is what he ran on. This is what we're going to deliver for the American people.
The president has suggested that San Francisco might be next. California's attorney general says there needs to be some sort of emergency situation, an invasion or rebellion, inability to enforce the laws with regular forces. None of that is even close to being present in San Francisco. Is he wrong?
We've seen reporting in San Francisco. I haven't been there in a very long time. It used to be one of the most beautiful cities in North America, and it's not now. And so these people, they want to pretend, they want to use propaganda to say, oh, no, this is all Trump's fault. San Francisco has been a basket case for years, decades. And having boots on the ground, like here where we are in D.C., it's much safer. It looks cleaner. The ambiance in the city is better because of these National Guard troops and the federal agents that are helping the locals side by side.
How's it been working with D.C. officials? Because when you look at the city council, they couldn't be more opposed to President Trump or his administration. The mayor's worked with the president, but has D.C. been a good partner with the federal government here?
I think they have. I think in the beginning it was awkward. Nobody really knew where this was going to take us. But the relationships on the ground, operators on the ground always get it right. And so that's working very well. But now we have the evidence. We have those boots on the ground have made a huge difference in this city like they have in the other locations. And so we're going to see more of this because it works. People appreciate it. And don't we really deserve a safe capital?
Do you see this ending in D.C. anytime soon? Is there a timeline?
I think we're committed to making sure that there's a sustainability to it. And so we'll stay, the federal agents will stay as long as it takes. And then the city's got some work to do with recruiting and adding capacity on the patrol side.
I want to talk now about Operation Coast to Coast. This is a nationwide police departments, federal agencies working to address human trafficking. There have been multiple arrests now of Chinese organized crime groups employing illicit massage industry places. How has the federal government managed to tackle this problem, and how big of a problem is it?
Well, these long-term investigations lead to saving victims of human trafficking and then using the interagency, like as we talked about before, having the FBI involved, DEA, other federal agencies, and working these cases, making sure that the traffickers are held to account. Then this is what happens when you stop enforcing immigration law, or you try to tell the public that immigration law doesn't matter. And when you start digging into these cases, when you solidify what happens at the border and then work in the interior, these are the kinds of rescues that we can make across the country.
And also, when you look at ICE, for the people who want to get rid of ICE, a large part of what ICE does, it isn't just removing people from the country, it's working on human trafficking cases just like this, right?
100%. They save kids all the time, all over the country, and other victims of human trafficking, which are mostly women and children. And so, yeah, it's an important capability that they bring into the fight.
And then what happens when police departments don't work with ICE, local police departments?
That's a destructive policy. And, some of these leaders need to understand that getting those criminal elements out of their cities it's good for the whole quality of life of the people that live there, right? People that are in the country illegally, that are committing crimes here, that become part of gangs. We don't need that in our big cities. And the leadership in those blue cities and states, they need to take account for this destructive policy that they're using.
Now there's this story out of suburban Chicago where someone who was here from Montenegro overstayed their tourist visa. They're here in the country illegally, and they end up becoming a police officer. The city said, the federal government said he was okay. What happened here? How's that possible?
Based on the research I did, this is somebody that came as a visitor and just never left. They came in as somebody. They got vetted to have a visa to be in the United States, and they were supposed to go back after a certain amount of time. They broke that contract with the American people and then found their way onto this police force. And so, the city has to take stock about how they vet their employees and who they want to choose to have police officers in their cities. And obviously the whole idea with a firearm, somebody that's in the country illegally, et cetera. But luckily, ICE found this person in the community, and they're taking steps to put him on a path for removal.
Back here in D.C., the government is still shut down. Is it impacting what CBP is doing and how CBP can do it?
Well, when the government's down, there's going to be an impact. But we just heard this week that the frontline employees are going to get their paychecks. They found some money in the department to apply to salaries for frontline employees. And so we're happy about that. These men and women, they took an oath to serve and protect us. And so they're going to continue to do that regardless of whether they get paid or not.
Mm-hmm. Ron Vitella, thanks so much for joining us. Very much appreciated.
Thanks for having me.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.